What's going on, Preneurs?
Hello. Welcome back to the Preneur LIfe, where we're going to be talking about wealth hacks to close the wealth gap through leadership. We're your hosts, Curtis and Eatmon, and we're really excited to have this conversation with you today.
Real question for you. When are you going to make some gumbo?
Probably till we get to Texas because...
Oh, shoot. We in this jet. I hope we get there fast. Because I put some gumbo down. Hey, Violet.
We could probably get my mom.
Speed it up.
I bet you we could get my mom to make us some because she feels sad that we're leaving, so she'll probably do it for us. We ask her.
Don't worry. I mean, just call your man. Just pull the jet around and pick her up sometime.
Right?
That's really cool, right?
That is funny. I love it.
Well, good stuff. Well, I'm glad to be next to you,
Yes.
on this flight with you. I just want to have a quick conversation about, I don't know, what you want to talk about? Like, what's the topic you want to talk about today? I mean, our conversations are always fun, but I know, the other day we were speaking about, different ways of power couples.
Yes.
That big power before couple, right?
Yes.
So what's on your mind about power couples?
Power couples are really an interesting topic to me because everybody wants to be one, couple goals, this and that.
You see that a lot, hashtags a lot.
Yes, exactly, right? But power couples are not something that are just created just because two people are together. It's something that you work towards together.
Okay.
It's something that starts before you even meet your spouse, though.
That's a big one.
Because to be a power couple, you have to individually be powerful. And so you have to know how to get in the vein of your power before you even meet your spouse. And then once you meet your spouse, there's work involved for you to see how your power can complement your spouse's power. And then when you both get on that same page, then that's where the whole power couple comes from, because when you see somebody that you put that label on power couple, it's because they're doing something powerful. And to do something powerful, not just because they both look great together, right? But to do something powerful, you have to be, thank you, you ain't so bad yourself, sir. If you wasn't married, I'd holla.
Just a backup dancer, that's all. I was trying to keep up.
No, but I'm just saying, you have to really, you have to figure out how your power is going to complement each other so you can move forward to do something powerful. And so if you don't know each other's power, if you don't know how to tap into each other's power, or you don't know how to complement each other's power, then you won't be able to accomplish anything powerful.
Interesting concept. So you're telling me right up front. So I'm single, right? I'm not obviously married to you, but say I'm single, and I'm a person that's listening to our conversation. So you're telling me to work on myself, develop myself before I actually enter into a real relationship if I want to add value in my power. Absolutely.
Because you have to be a strong individual to be able to add something to a couple.
Okay. So real question then is why is that not happening so much? Why are we not seeing that? Because the thing is to be a power couple, right? You kind of mentioned yourself as you have to bring both to the table, obviously, to be powerful. So why aren't we you don't really see that too much. You see the Jay-Z, Beyonce, that you might see the Michelle and Obama himself, right, together. But I mean, that's just a couple of examples, of course.
Right.
But those are ultra wealthy, high. I'm talking about the president of the United States. You're talking about a major rapper, and obviously Beyonce, who she is, but you don't really see that normally. So how do you even get to that situation? I don't know. What's your perspective on that?
Well, first of all, I feel like that's the whole reason we're having this conversation is because it's a wealth hack. What are the wealthy people doing that's helping benefit them and helping get them where they are?
Okay.
And sometimes people, when they think wealth hacks, they only are thinking financial information, right? But this is a wealth hack through leadership that we've been talking about here, right? And so what do wealthy people do? What is their mindset that's different than what the average person is? And I think that wealthy people are constantly thinking about how they can add value, and they want to be around value adds, right? And so they're going to choose their couple a lot of times with someone that's going to also add value to them.
True. But I mean, okay, let's kind of go on that, right? Because you might have a very powerful man that, you know, that may not choose in essence a powerful woman because he feels like you're going to step on my toes, it's my game, I'm running this already. Obviously has a lot to go with ego, high ego, or it could be with also insecurities too, that the person might be to overcompensate for other situations that they may have. So what's your perspective on that one?
It's so funny because I think the ego is a very interesting thing as well. Okay. Ego is something that a lot of people see it only as negative. But there's two sides of a coin to ego. Ego is good. It can be something that propels you in life. There's no successful person that doesn't have an ego. Like it doesn't exist.
But a lot of people also think like ego's loud.
Yes.
Like, oh, well, I have to be overbearing loud, you know, hear me roar, you know, and all this different stuff that you think your ego, but ego can also be very quiet.
Yes.
You know, those are some of the highest egos are the quiet ones, right? So
before you go further, I want to hear about that from you. Like, so as far as the quiet ego goes, what is your perspective on that? Like, how do you see quiet egos and how does that show up and manifest before we dive a little further?
I think a lot more is said when it's not being said. You know, because you already hear, you know, the fact is that 90% of your communication is nonverbal anyways.
Wow.
You know, so I think it's not always what's being said, it's most of the time what's being acted out, the behavior.
Yeah.
You know, because that's really showing you what your heart is anyways. So a lot of people's ego and what their true intentions and belief is really coming from the behavior. I always say, don't tell me what you say, I know what you believe in by your behavior.
Yes.
You know, so your words are only so much, but what your lifestyle truly is, eventually I'm going to find out what you really believe in, not what you just say maybe on a stage or you said just to make yourself look a certain way on ego basis. So when the question is coming at me, that quiet ego, I'm just thinking more on the essence of you might say something for just appease, but in your head, all right, and you're really heart to heart, so you're in a whole different direction. You know, so that's an ego play.
Right.
You know, because you just want to make yourself look good, right? But you don't really believe in what you just said. For example, you might say, "Hey, baby, you know what? Let's go work out." Like, of course, let's go do it.
Yeah.
Like you can keep up with me, right, baby? You can work out with me for 4 days a week. Of course, I'm gonna say like, yeah, of course.
And then no, I just wanted to go there for the pictures, just for the gram.
The quiet ego will say something like this inside, like, I ain't really doing that.
That's interesting because you're saying, so ego is not only something that propels you. Sometimes ego can be something that holds you back.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's good.
You know, there's a book it's called Ego's the Enemy, right?
I love that book.
It talks about quiet and loud egos and different things, and all of us have it to a certain degree, as you mentioned. But some use it in a louder voice, some use it quietly. But again, at the end of the day, you really find out what a person truly believes based on their behavior.
I love it. So going back to the conversation that we were originally having, when you're talking about the ego in relationship and all that. So tell me.
About what exactly?
So tell me what, like, about the whole thing we were talking about, the ego in relationship. Tell me about, like, your thoughts on how couples together, like, how does an ego come into the relationship? Sometimes you see people who, they're in a relationship and they're somebody who's very successful and their person's more in the background. Or sometimes you'll see couples where, one of them is, quieter or whatever it is, supporting cast. Why do you think sometimes it's hard? Because I think you were talking on the vein of ego. Why do you think sometimes it's hard for people to share that stage? Why don't we see so many powerful couples and things like that? What do you think about that?
I mean, I honestly believe because it could go into the mindset of, well, I don't know if this person can really do what I can do.
Okay.
And that also has a lot to do with, I guess you would say, ego or insecurities too. It's like, okay, well, I mean, I can do this myself. So if I pass the ball to you, are you going to be able to make the shot too like I can make it?
Right.
And the real question is, when do I pass the ball in a couple? As a couple, like when do I say, you know what, like I want you to play the game when we were in the same jersey together. Like when it's like, oh, it's 3 seconds on the clock. When do I pass the ball to you?
Right.
Or do I say, nah, I'm gonna jack this up. I don't care if 4 people or 5 people are on me. I'm taking this shot.
Right.
So like that's the real hard part. Is like, when do you judge? When is it the right time to pass, and when is the right time to take the shot? And I think that's something that innately you and your spouse have to talk about. You know, because sometimes you just a setup person.
Right.
That's your power though.
Right.
You know, so maybe me passing you the ball is my power.
Right.
You know, on this team, and you are making, like, for example, you want to go to, you know, the Bulls. You just saw The Last Dance, you know, documentary, whatever it is. Or
right.
You want to use
awesome documentary.
You know, so many different examples. It's like, well, Steve Kerr in that situation, his job was just to make open shots.
Yeah.
That was his power.
Right.
All right. Scottie Pippen was to be the defender. Jordan was, hey, like, I'm here to score, and you know, and that's what I'm here for. You know, I'm here to dominate, and that's the mindset. So they all were able to use their powers. I can use everybody as an example, of course. But I think you also have to figure that out as a couple too. Is like, okay, this is my lane. This is my power lane.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm going to be able to use my GTA's gift, talents, and abilities effectively. We need to figure out yours so we can both be powerful together.
You know, I think that's so good, baby, that you're talking, like, how you just said that conversation.
Baby.
No. But I know, literally, I love that because, like, sometimes people think that being a second to their spouse or that supporting cast, that it means that I'm under you.
Oh.
And you, like, I love the way that you just explained that being able to say we're both powerful. Like, yes, I can make open shots, but that doesn't mean I need to take every shot. I can pass the ball to you. There's a power in that. 100%. And I think that sometimes power couples or people who are striving to be a power couple, couples in general, I think sometimes they miss the mark on that. Everybody wants to be the front person, you know, and it's like there's too many chiefs, not enough Indians. And you think that because I can be an Indian to you, that means that that takes away from me being a chief in my own right. And I think that it's very important not to blur those two lines, that there's power in being able to know when to submit to each other, know when, okay, I'm passing you the ball, now you can pass me the ball, and not to fumble the ball when it's passed to you, right? And that's where that part of being prepared in advance comes in, right? So within this conversation, so what do you think about, because I know sometimes we see power couples, right? But then a lot of times you see successful men who end up with these, like, you're like, does she even have a brain? Like, she's just a trophy wife kind of a situation. You know, so why do you think you see that? Why do you think you see that with certain men that are very powerful or that are very wealthy? You know, because I don't want people to think that has to be the, like, cookie cutter of being successful.
We see that a lot, unfortunately. It's when you have the conversations like, oh, I know why you made it,
right? But
I don't know why you're here. You know, so what's the value add that you have in the couple? I think you see that based on the man's insecurity. You know, so they don't want the challenge. This is my court. I don't want anybody else. This is my ball. All right, you can't. No one else can touch my ball. All right, and you know, so I think that's the biggest deal is, like, no, I'm not looking for anybody else to be on this team. This is a one-man sport. You know, I just want you to be the cheerleader. And some men just want a cheerleader. They're not looking for a teammate. You know, they're just looking for you to play a role in other capacities, maybe. You know, maybe to be someone that goes to dinner with them. Maybe someone that's for companionship. Maybe to have a nice conversation, or the pictures, or to look like different things. There's all different motives for those reasons. So when you don't see a value add in that conversation, that couple, then they're overcompensating for some other reasons, okay? Or they're really insecure and they unfortunately don't want anyone to challenge their capacity at the moment.
Wow. That's so big, because it is a strength to be able to share that stage.
I think you know, you always hear, I need someone to sharpen me, you know, I need someone to make me, it has to be equally yoked, right? I want to be better each and every day, but honestly, who's challenging you in that? If it's not your spouse, that's your number one person, right? That's your number one investment.
Yeah.
You know, because you're living for her or you're living for him or vice versa, whatever it may be. So if you don't have that, someone sharpen you every day, you know, and someone that can call you out on different things, or we call you up to different things as well, to the vision that they have. I mean, this is a reason why most people level out and plateau.
Wow.
You know, because so for example, you're talking about a man, right? So if I'm a man and I don't have my wife that I didn't marry up, we call it, right? So if I didn't marry up where she consistently keeps challenging me, or vice versa, if you want to switch the roles, not a problem, then you're not even having the person that knows all your real problems and all your real situations that have really been watching you daily. You know, so that's the person I want to hear from, because you know my flaws. Yeah. Like, I want you to call me out and say what it is. Like, if I say, hey babe, we're gonna do this, you're like, Curtis, like, honestly, bro, you haven't done what you say you're gonna do in the last 2 weeks. You know, so let's get back to this, getting some small wins first before we go grandiose. Yeah. Like men need that. And I think those that, you know, are very, very powerful men, it's not you're not powerful because you can make someone submit to you. You're not powerful because you have the authority or title. You're powerful because you understand when not to use the power sometimes. You know?
That's so good.
That would be my perspective.
That's
on that.
Big. Yeah. You know, on the other coin, the other side of that coin, I think sometimes you see in relationships there's women who are trying to be that more super powerful.
Well, I have a question for you based on that, because, you know, today's a big deal, and there's been a lot of transition into women, you know, increasing their roles in regards to compensation, making the same amount of men now and everything like that, which I believe is great. Yeah. You know, there's been a definitely uproar in the women community to be able to increase. My question for you is, it became more of a feminist, you know, it's become more titled feminist in essence, right? Which is nothing wrong with that. But my question for you is, how does that affect the power couple in essence? Like, is that a negative or is that a positive, or what do you think about that?
So what I'm about to say, I feel like can be a little bit controversial. Okay?
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being controversial.
Yes.
I mean, we're just having easy. Okay.
Yeah, we're just having a conversation.
That's what it is. Yeah.
You know, I don't believe in I believe in the rise up of women and doing all of these things, but I think that sometimes you fight so hard to take on the role or the identity of what has been given to a man that we lose our femininity sometimes. And there's so much power in our femininity, right? It's such a big deal. So I don't identify as a feminist. I identify as feminine. I think that it is important for a woman to have the same abilities as a man, to be able to fill the same roles, to be able to, go to work, make the same money, do all these things, right? I believe that there should be equality in those things. But I also believe that there is a power that God gave us as women to be feminine. You know, it's like you get, I don't remember the scripture exactly, but it basically talks about how, you know, you can like tame a lion, like basically with your with your soft words, you know. So it's like just being feminine is powerful. I think that species, right, and I think that so many women are setting aside our power to try to conquer, you know, something else, like that masculine energy power. And I think it's a little bit unfortunate, because I think that there's a place for me to be able to be feminine and also be a boss.
100%.
Right? And for me to say what I mean what I say, all of those things, and also be feminine. So I believe that there's nothing more powerful than being able to support my husband, but also know that you're able to support me. Yes. And I think that's what makes a power couple, is to be able to know what is your role, what is my role, and be able to dominate our role instead of trying to tiptoe over into each other's space. If that makes sense.
That's so good. That's so good. Because honestly, you see it all the time is, you know, you're stepping out of your role that you were innately already gifted to walk into.
Yes.
All right. That doesn't mean you should not increase the capacity for it and have better advantages or anything like that, or should not advance. But in regards to the role of a couple, right? You're talking about power couple again. Is or do you know how to be powerful to pull it out eventually? So this is a great combo.
Yeah, and there's power in everybody's role. Like I think sometimes people think that feminine means weak.
That's what it is.
And that's the issue, that a lot of people are kind of, no, I don't want to be weak. I don't want to. It's like, no, you can be strong.
And also some men will think that, well, I'm weak as well if I lower my power, right, and let you come with me, right?
But I don't even think it's lowering. I think it's adding.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, I think that, like, when you are operating in your full power and your full capacity, and I can come up beside you with my full power and my full capacity, it's like a superpower that ends up happening, right?
Yeah.
So I think
for sure.
So what would you say for couples who maybe they're in a situation where they're thinking, okay, we're in a, we want to do big things in our life. We want to accomplish something. We want to be a power couple. But, we're kind of missing the mark. Or what would you say would be your advice for me if I was telling you, I want to do something like that?
Yeah,
how do I become a power couple? What do I do? What would you say?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think what we did. First and foremost, without a vision, you will perish. It's very simple, right?
Yeah.
So what's the vision, first and foremost, of this couple? What's the vision of this relationship? What do we want to become? Do you only want to be in the background? Do you want that as a role for yourself? Is that what you signed up for in this relationship? We got to have that conversation.
Right.
So for us, it was very clear, like, look, I'm an alpha man, you're an alpha woman, it is what it is. You're a boss lady, I'm a boss man. We're not here I submit to you, submit to me. We're very equal in that. But we also understand our roles of the household. I lead in certain capacities, you lead in certain capacities, and we're comfortable with that.
Right.
Right? I think, again, you have to have that conversation. It's almost like sitting down before you sit down with your boss and say, what's the position again that I'm applying for? Can you just reiterate back to me again what I'm applying for? All right, can you tell me the roles? Can you tell me the expectations here?
Yeah.
Because once you go through the whole resume process, right, the interview process, and the boss says, you know what, I would love to hire you. You have to answer that back and say, do I accept that role? Do I want to step into that? You could easily say, no, I do not want that role. After hearing it again, no, thank you.
Right.
Let me think about it. And whatever it may be. So I think it's very, very important that you guys almost interview each other on what your expectation is as becoming a power couple. What's that definition to you? Because as we're having a conversation, there's so many definitions of what a power couple can be. Somebody reads as powerful man, and some people are there's power couples that both man and women are both in the spotlight. There's power couples when there's the man's in the spotlight, the woman though is speaking heavily into that man, all right, and keeping him on pace, keeping him guided. There's other ways, other route too. So there's so many different capacities and definitions of what it can be. What do you want to be? But most importantly, what is both your powers you can bring to the table? That's would be the biggest thing.
Love it. This was an awesome conversation.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a little bit more.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so hopefully you take these wealth tasks. We encourage you to take it with you, and so we can help us close the wealth gap together. We'll see you next time.